Did he?
Well, that's the question.
I remember.
Or did he? Or did he? 2002. Look, what?
Oh, what a header.
How on earth did you get given that goal?
Sorensen gets a Christmas card every single year from me.
That is ridiculous. Are you, no, if we're being honest
That's
here,
the only
Rio.
goal at Euros.
The celebration was even better.
Are you doing a bogle there?
Yeah, I brought it back. I brought it back to the streets.
Yeah.
Are you really, though, you know, claiming that goal?
Well, there's only 2 of us on this panel that have scored at a tournament.
Oh, wow.
Just let you know, just let you know.
Wow.
That's true.
Rio. I did beat you. I'm the youngest ever defender for England.
Yeah. I know you was.
Yeah, so beat you on that.
You beat me on that.
Can you replicate that celebration? Can you?
I can slide that. It's a bit slower now.
Aren't we all?
Wow!
The first meeting between these two teams at the Euros was back in 1992. It finished 0-0. I was captain, and the only consolation is that Shearer was left on the bench. He probably should have come on. England finished bottom of the group. It was a different story for Denmark.
3, 2, 1.
Seems certain that the international football authorities will expel Yugoslavia from next month's European Championship finals in Sweden. Denmark will replace them.
People say they're the weakest team in the group. It's a nonsense, really. They've got as much chance as anybody.
We come in here without any preparation, if you want.
Good evening. We're all looking very much forward to this, of course. The whole match coming up live from Malmo.
Jim said he felt perhaps we were a bit too overconfident, and we're not saying it's easy, but I certainly feel very confident about tonight.
And England's European Championship is underway. Knocked back to Palmer.
Not one of Colton's best, that. I must say, England, not very impressive.
Oh, and the shot was by Jensen. And England have a lucky escape.
England have made an unimpressive start in their bid to win the European Championship.
You know, they all sit there and they wait for us to do badly.
There's a lot of football to be played yet. I mean, if you can't handle the pressure now or whatever, don't bother coming.
And Pierce strikes. Oh, it's gone!
I thought I'd scored, actually, but tomorrow it'll be forgotten. That's what happens when it doesn't go in the net.
People probably watching the game as pure supporters, they would find that hard to watch, I'm sure of that.
When is football going to wake up to the fact that it's in the entertainment business?
All the people back at home in the press, right, they're all getting at the team and at the manager.
Everywhere you go. Right there. Swindler in front. Thomas Bromley.
The idea that Denmark were going to be more dangerous than Yugoslavia, I think, was a fallacy.
What it means is that England have got to win.
England have got to score a goal as well.
It's a vital match for Graham Taylor and his squad.
Attack the ball!
Feel actually you're on trial when you come in here. Hell on me, what do I have to defend?
But especially for Gary Lineker. It might be his last for England.
Marvellous start for England. Darlene didn't make it. Eriksson did, and it's a goal. Gary Lineker is being pulled off. Darlene brilliant goal.
Succeed, then there is a torrent of abuse on you.
On reflection, though, Graham, what would you perhaps have done differently?
I thought that we should have beaten Denmark, and really that was probably the biggest disappointment.
And Denmark have qualified.
We've had that belief from the very first game.
Yes! Denmark are there! They've beaten Holland 5-4 on penalties.
The Danes are better than some people think.
I can promise you one thing, every player will do his best, absolutely his best.
It's dramatic, it's delightful, it's Denmark who are the European champions.
Going back to 3 weeks ago, we thought we were going on holidays. It's just unbelievable.
Well, that's made me feel miserable. What did a 17-year-old Thomas Frank make of that tournament?
Fantastic fairy tale, unbelievable summer, party, joy, memories for life.
It was a great side. Who were your particular heroes at that time?
Classic one, Peter Schmeichel, of course. The Laudrup brothers. The crazy thing is that Michael didn't even participate in the tournament.
No, he didn't.
So it was only
Why was
Brian.
that? I can't remember why.
Yeah, he didn't want to play under the current coach at that stage, so he missed out on the winning a big trophy for his country.
Wow.
But Brian Laudrup, wow, what a player.
What were a 14-year-old Rio Ferdinand and a 4-year-old Micah Richards doing in 1992? Were you bursting onto the nursery scene?
I was in nursery, I know that.
Yeah.
I don't think you want to know what I was doing at 14.
No.
What were you doing at 14?
No, I was in youth clubs and hanging around on the estate and stuff, so it was, carnage.
Look at you now.
You've done well. It's fair to say the most recent meeting between the teams was a bit more memorable from an English perspective.
England's footballers on the brink of sporting history tonight.
Victory would secure a place in their first major tournament final since 19...
Kane is looking for Sterling. Free kick, and this is within striking distance. That is some sort of wonder strike from Mikkel Damsgaard. England 0, Denmark 1.
This is my place, my house, my room.
Has to hit back quickly. That's what England have done.
Do you see me? Feel me? Don't think you do.
That will do it for the 90 and a little bit more.
This is my place, my house.
Kane might have a chance here.
You're so welcome in.
Sterling down in the box. It is a penalty for England. Harry Kane on the spot for his country. Schmeichel saves. Kane is there to follow in. Wembley is alive and thundering with noise. A Wembley roar to hail England's history makers into the final of a major tournament for the first time in 55 years.
Yeah, first final didn't quite happen for England. Thomas, I'd be interested to get your thoughts on the job that Gareth Southgate's done. But we'll hold that for just a second, because what a night that was at Wembley, and not quite as many England fans here today. The Frankfurt Arena is a capacity.
Perfect timing. I think Gareth has done a fantastic job. I know it's a massive job to be the England manager. There will be a lot of focus, a lot of criticism, but from all the expectations in the past, more or less, I think he created a team that there is belief in, and there's a lot of hope from a lot of people, reaching a semi-final. Then we know it was a final, narrowly missing out, winning a trophy. And then I actually think they did well in the World Cup. Yeah. And they lost to France in a completely even game. Yeah. And created a team with so much talent and quality that it can win it. And we are sitting here and... Yes, I hope Denmark, of course. But besides that, that's the second team I really hope, and I believe they can win the tournament. That's a big credit.
How difficult is it as a manager to shut out all the noise when everybody's got an opinion of what the team should be, etc.?
It is difficult, I would say. I'm pretty sure Gareth do the same as me. You know, no social media, don't read anything, don't listen to any podcast. So you speak to your staff. Maybe with one or two from the outside.
What about the pundits? You listen to us?
No, definitely not. No, you need to to close it out. If not, then no one is that strong that if you listen to everything and you read something, because we all got an ego. Even Gareth is so balanced. He get irritated.
Because when we were playing, we used to have the newspapers out, and so you'd see we didn't have social media then, but that was a big pressure, just the newspapers, let alone now having social media, and it never turns off. It's always on your phone. So I agree, I think it's difficult, but to shut that out would be a definite plus.
Can I just ask you about the squad? So the size of England's squad and the quality they have. Managing all these players, is that easier or is it harder? Would you rather have 13 or 14 top players? Or would you rather have a squad of England?
I think I think it's the balance of the squad, so that England is privileged with all the talent. I'm a believer if you have 15 top players and the 3-4 that's not playing, they know they will still have a role to play. I think that can be easier, but all the players that is at the Euros, I'm pretty sure that they know their role, a lot of them. Yeah. So we may be talking about one player in the midfield, one of the wingers, maybe one in defence that really could say, OK, I can and should play. The rest, I think, understand the role.
You were saying last night at dinner about communication with your squad. Going into a squad knowing that your role is going to be a bit part player, or your role is going to be, if we get 2 wins out of the first 2, you might come and play the third. Knowing that, I think, makes it so much easier to make these decisions when you're in the tournament.
You were also telling us you think England's front four, and you need to get over it.
I think it was a great dive. Unbelievable, great dive.
No.
Well, fair play to Sterling. He does it well. You know, playing that such a good game and then decided by...
Sized down. Look at this.
Look at this. Even you, Gary, you...
The penalty, so it was irrelevant.
They got
the Frankfurt Arena has already played host to Slovakia's 1-0 win over Belgium. Alan Shearer's there on co-commentary duty, and we can hear from him now. Alan, we saw...
I think from set pieces they'll offer a huge threat. They also like to put crosses into the box. Having said that, Serbia did that the other day, and I thought England handled those crosses into the box superbly well. Denmark will look to do the same again today.
You've been around the England fans in Frankfurt. What's the mood like?
They've been absolutely brilliant. They're all in great form. They're having the laugh and the joke, and they're having a pint, and yeah, they're in great form and certainly behaving themselves. They've been having a great laugh, and long may that continue.
Fodbolden har en evne til at på kryds og tværs af, hvad der ellers gælder sig for os samlet. Men man kan se, at det er et hold, som gør alt, hvad de kan for at vinde kampene, for at udtrykke sig, for på og uden for banen og udtrykke det, vi er. Den identitet, vi har.
Jamen, det er en træner, som jeg synes har været med til at udvikle os alle sammen som spillere og også som hold.
Jeg ser ham som værende en meget nytænkende og moderne træner. Men det, der er vigtigst for mig i en træner, det er at give mig tilliden, og det føler jeg virkelig, han har givet mig.
Med et anførerskab og en ledergruppe, som på hver sin måde er anfører. Vi har en Christian Eriksen, som er rytmen og hjertet i holdet. Ikke?
Det er Eriksen! Danmark i spidsen! Christian Eriksen!
Vi har Simon, som er kaptajn på sin måde, og vi har Pierre, som vokser sig ind nu med sin vulkan og sin passion for alt i spillet. Det er ikke tilfældigt, at Rasmus tager skridt, fordi det er hans mindset, det er hans personlighed.
Som angriber vil jeg jo gerne score nogle mål, så det håber jeg da på, at jeg kan komme til dernede. Men det vigtigste for mig igen er at nå langt. Altså, jeg vil bare gerne.
Og så har vi Kasper, som på sin ekstroverte måde repræsenterer vores landshold, repræsenterer vores værdier.
Jeg føler et kæmpe ansvar. Jeg har så meget erfaring efterhånden, at jeg
How did you think he got on in the first game against Slovenia? In that half? Overall?
Actually, I think you're right.
Yeah.
I think overall, I think it's fair to say, I think Kasper set up the team very well. A little tweak, so from the 5-3-2 in the first game to more 5-4-1, so Eriksen is more to the left and Vind is dropping down, so I think that's set up well. And then also, when they're dominating on the ball, they have good positions. So pleased with the first half.
All these England players, with the exception of Kane, are used to playing high press, attacking, getting in the opposition's half. When they play with England, all of a sudden it's a completely different setup, and it's baffling, isn't it?
It is baffling, and it's concerning, I would say. I think we've got a couple of examples here that I'd like to show. When you're passive, it doesn't matter who you are, what level of player you are, teams will play out and play around you. You have to be aggressive in the way that you press and you try and go up against teams. This is international football. So when you're going to go and press, you have to go with a little bit more in
setup. They want to press, and they've got the players to press. But Harry Kane is so good at scoring goals, and his record is unbelievable. And when his goal comes, you're thinking, OK.
I'd be going mad. I'd be screaming. I couldn't have my centre forward not filling in with the workload that the other players are putting in. I need to see that intensity at some point. Put their centre halves under pressure that I'm receiving as an England defender.
But the reason he's in there is that
the job with Saka. Walker comes in, and then this is what he's great at. In the box, he comes alive. This is what he does, and that's why we rave about him so much. Brilliant from Walker there, just anticipating the move, and then gets a little bit fortunate with the cutback.
Being lucky, Michael, can't you? You could say, oh, it's lucky, but he
knows where to be.
He's always there, and it always falls to him. So it can't. It's just he has an understanding of where that ball's going to be. It's a magnet.
He's a brilliant finisher.
And he's brilliant at that. And that's the thing. That's the problem for a manager on Southgate. Portugal probably have it with Cristiano Ronaldo as well.
Now,
There's certain things that you want. You can't have it all.
No.
But what he does is the hardest thing in the game, which is to put the ball in the back of the net.
Absolutely. Denmark equalised. Over to you for this one, Thomas.
Thank you very much, Gary.
What a goal. 13th goal from outside the box.
Yeah, exactly. And I've said don't finish outside the box, but yes, if you do it like Morten Hjulmand here, then it's fantastic. What a strike. He hit it so clean. So fantastic goal in so many ways.
But again, Harry Kane, and we're not picking on Harry Kane, but the fact that he's so deep, OK, he wants to get involved, but it's
but still, he understand there are 10 players behind the ball. It's a fantastic strike.
It's
one in a million.
It's
one in a million.
It's an unbelievable strike.
It's 1 in a million.
1 in a million.
Yeah.
1 in a million.
Thomas was celebrating like he'd never known it. No class.
Quite right as well. We've seen glimpses of Phil Foden. And generally, when he's come inside, he's looked sharp and he's looked a threat. And he had one decent effort.
Yeah, he's been better. And this is what we was talking about before the game, on the ball. When he gets into these little pockets here, little chop, and then as he goes to kick it, he just bounces up for him. But this is what we need more of. I feel like he's been a bit more dominant, asking for the ball a lot more. And if we can get him into these areas here, then we can score goals in that second.
Outside of the goal has been him in these central areas. If you don't realise now, Mr. Southgate, that this is where he should be playing, it will never happen. But he gives us a sense of rhythm, a bit of control. He gives us that little bit of belief and that confidence in middle areas where it gets tight.
But you can see all three situations in the middle of the pitch. So it's clearly he got that free roll. He can drift and he can be on the ball where he wants. And when he finds the right areas, he can create great opportunities.
Denmark's press has been far superior, and I think there's one moment that you've picked out that sums it up for you.
Yeah, I just think that this is. I think it's a fantastic situation to press from. Everything is set from a goal kick, and if you're aggressive there, it's difficult to get out of. And one ball up, England's not getting on top of it, Denmark is landing on it, and boom, then you're up there in control. You can pass it, you can move it. Find the position. They want to have the 3-2 build-up, 2 wing-backs, 3 on the last line. So then they find the control there.
Yeah, I mean, it's very unusual in the modern era to see a pitch that cuts up. I mean, like a bowling green compared to the pitch I played on, but I mean, it is cutting up quite considerably.
No, and Carl Walker's had to change his boots after 10 minutes, because the pitch is everyone's slipping and sliding. You think some of them have got roller skates on, but it does happen sometimes. You've just got to deal with it. Both teams have got the same problem.
It can unsettle you, though, because when you're used to playing in moulded studs and then you go into the proper studs, but it's just, when the pitch is like that, it's it's no good for the players because you're worried about the injuries, but they've got to get on with it in that second half.
Can we get the groundsman's name and just highlight it?
It's from Man United.
Why's he going there? Why's he doing that?
I've no idea. I've no idea. I think we've got a graphic of the average positions of the England players before the goal and post the goal. That's before. Obviously, even that's still quite deep, but then it dropped.
Many games you can go to where we score and we set back, especially against teams that are considered like top teams around. No disrespect to Denmark, but we're doing it against Serbia and Denmark. That's the baffling thing.
Inviting pressure.
Yeah.
Constantly inviting pressure. And I know England's defensive record has been good of the past, but we've got a different variety of players now who can keep the ball. That's the difference.
Play to your strengths, not your weaknesses. Drama, tension, and high stakes. But enough about the football. Here's what's on iPlayer.
In the second half, the same, and England drop off deeper, I would look to bring on Watkins.
For
Harry Kane.
Yeah.
I know he scored his goal. I know how important he is to this England side, but in terms of stretching the team, getting up the pitch, some of that pace is needed, maybe even Gordon as well.
Yeah. I'd go definitely the same. I think you've got 3 centre-halves and you've got a striker coming back to the ball. It doesn't make sense. You've got to have someone running in behind. Kane can do it. I've seen him do it. But you just need to be able to and play the ball in there.
Why is he not doing it? Why is he dropping really deep? Why is he not pressing? I mean, is it...
Because getting frustrated.
Is it not instructions from the manager?
If you watch Harry Kane's game for how long, the last couple of years, that's what he does.
Now,
that's what he does.
It's pretty static.
But they've got other players who now can do that role, who can play them threaded balls. He needs to stay high.
There is a role for... There's no denying there's a role for him to play, and he's definitely a main player in this team, but... You've got to be able to, I think, as a manager, maybe today.
Thomas, I must congratulate your team's performance. I thought you were excellent. Probably overall, not much in it in the game, but I think tactically far superior, Tom.
Yeah, maybe definitely a very good performance. I'm very pleased for Kasper, my good friend, for Danish players, for backroom staff, for the Danish fans, everyone, of course. It was a very good performance. I talked about it before that the players need to hit 8, 9 out of 10 performance, all of them, and I think they did. I think they came with great energy. Also, the pressure was more or less spot on when they went from middle to high or just high pressure, and then they were very composed on the ball. They didn't stress. So very promising performance for Denmark.
Yep, and I think their fans appreciated it. That's for sure.
They will have a great party tonight, I promise.
Yeah, they will, won't they?
They will.
Yeah, their players are standing in front of their fans applauding them, and I think their fans will be applauding their players. As for England, it was so lacklustre, so lethargic, Rio.
Yeah, but again, there's so much room for improvement. It just concerns me when I see the standard of players that we have out there. I thought that guy in the picture there, Mark Gay, was tremendous. He was outstanding in everything he done. Even when he did make a mistake, he made up for it. But I just look at the players. Alan said in commentary there, the players don't look the same players we see for their clubs. It happened in my generation, so I understand exactly what it is. And John Stones is there. He's an absolutely perfect centre-back coming out of the ball. Yeah. Looks far from it.
Moves into midfield,
has a freedom to go and do it. The team structure. But I don't think the team balance is allowing the players to perform at their best. Foden's not playing in his best position, isn't performing at his best. Jude Bellingham.
Great strike from outside the box. And sometimes you have to go goals. I thought the first goal this time we've done well and set off really well as we did the other day, but we managed not to see the game out. But we're top of the group, so let's move on to the next game.
You were getting forward as a team, and both yourself as well, so much early on. Why did that change?
I think it's just a game. It's a game. You're sensing the game, you're sensing their feeling. They probably had the upper hand in certain parts of the game, so you go off of that. As defenders, you try and think of what if. Rather than me charging forward, they go and score, and then all of a sudden they're blaming us as a defence that we're not in position. So, listen, we've got enough up front to go and score goals, and we've got enough, as a team to go and defend. So, listen, let's take it as a point, a well-deserved point, and we'll move on to the next game.
Is the manager telling you to drop back deeper once you do score?
No. Listen, the manager's expressed that he wants us to play free attacking football. Sometimes in tournament football, you have to manage the game. It is what it is. That's why it's so hard to win tournaments. Just as like the Champions League, it's not a walkthrough. You don't turn up and just take 3 points. It's tough when you come to these grounds, hostile environments. But we know we can do better. But we're top of the group, so let's move on to that.
As an experienced head, you're the vice-captain. What are you going to be saying to those players in the dressing room now?
Oh, they'll know. They'll know as individuals as a team collectively, they'll know we've got another gear, but we haven't lost a game. So obviously everyone wants us to come and steamroll teams 3-4-0. It's not football. It's not football these days. And we've got a point. We'll move on, as I keep saying. We're top of...
It is tournament football, but it's our job and the coach's job to dissect what's gone wrong. And there's plenty to look at there. I mean, where do you start? No energy, no guile. I wouldn't say lack of effort, not trying, but there's so much more to come from those players out there. And look at Jude tonight. I mean, he couldn't put one front and the other in front of the other. He couldn't get forward. I look at Phil Foden on the left. Is he affecting the game? No chance. And I look at Saka. I mean, and Harry Kane. I know he's got his goal, and I mentioned it in commentary about running in behind. At least when Watkins came on, the defenders were running in behind. So. Yeah, it was really poor, and it is concerning, absolutely.
Why do you think it is that this team, that pretty much all the players in it, spectacularly successful in the Premier League? They all play. They're used to playing a high press, very much in the opposition's half. But when they've played for England in these two games, they're very much sat back. There's barely a press from the top right through. There's big gaps between the front and the back, or either that or they play in a really low block. Why do you think that is? Is that coming from the coach?
Well, let's use John Stones as an example. How many times do you see him get the ball and run into midfield, or get the ball with his back and turn in the Man City team? So many times. He's brilliant at it. How many times have you seen him do it in the last 2 England games? I can't remember any. How many times do you see Declan Rice getting that ball and bursting forward? How many times have you seen him do it in an England shirt in the last 2 games? None. How many times do you see Phil Foden get on the ball in the middle of the park, turn? Maybe once tonight when he had the shot and he hit the post. So Gareth at the minute is not getting the best out of England's best players.
What about up front, Alan? Harry Kane, we know, is a spectacular finisher. He has been for a hell of a long time. Scored again in this game. His overall contribution, there was very little movement from him. He was pretty static. I don't know whether he was tired or one touch in the box, I think, in the game. What does he do about that? Because obviously when Watkins came on, you had a threat behind. It stretches them a little bit more. You could probably press. What's your position on it?
Well, I sort of mentioned it in commentary, Gary, about when I got into my 30s and I'd lost a yard or a half a yard of pace, I needed legs around me. I needed pace around me. I could still hold the ball up. I could still head it. I still had a good touch. I could still score goals. But the one thing I constantly couldn't do was running behind. So he needs players in and around him to do that. I would do that. That's why I would have Gordon in the team, because he has the energy. He has the ability to run in behind. He has the ability to get up near him. Whereas when Foden's doing that, Foden wants to be tight and play in the 10 role, very much like Harry Kane does. He's a brilliant goal scorer. He'll always score goals. But what he does lack is he lacks that yard and he lacks that energy. Someone else can do it. Someone else can do it alongside him.
Can I remind you, Alan, that when it happened to you, you retired from international football?
Well, that's one of the reasons why I retired from international football, Gary, because I couldn't do it both for England and for Newcastle with the energy and with my lack of pace. Harry's into his 30s now. He's never really been the quickest. He can still make really good runs, but he does need pace in and around him, and that's why I would have played Gordon.
Yeah. OK, Alan, thanks very much. Safe travels. Make some interesting points there, Mike. It brings us on to Harry Kane. Let's start with his goal, Rio. It was a classic striker's goal. He was there, the ball broke to him, and he doesn't miss chances very often.
And that's where the debate will always be, because there's so many things you can look at with Harry Kane and go, oh, he could be better at this, he could be better at that. But there ain't many in the game that are better at doing this, which is finding the space in the box, freeing himself up and being able to dispatch a goal like that. So, and that is the hardest thing in the game to do. So he's doing the hardest thing in the game. He does it with aplomb. But we're all looking at what he doesn't do and going, OK, does that mean we have to change the way England play? Do we have to change maybe Harry Kane or not? But I ask you, Tom, what do you think?
Of Kane in general.
Yeah, in terms of the manager's perspective, do you take out them goals or do you don't play?
I think I'm just sitting here and listening, and I think Kane is a fantastic player. I think we all do that. He's a fantastic goal scorer. So how does we get the team to work in the right way? And I'm sure Gareth, he know after these 2 games, it was not perfect. It was far from perfect. He knows that, and he's searching, no doubt, what is the best lineup. And it's so easy for all of us, and myself including, to be clever up here, sure of what is the strongest lineup up there.
I am.
Yeah,
I am. I know.
but you can't be sure. You can't be sure. So I think Kane is very important for that England team.
100%.
I think actually Gareth was brave today to take him off, and he changed 3 players during. So I think he was proactive to try to change the game.
I think he just needs to adapt. When we talk about players and how they want to play, he's used to playing in that number 10 role. Obviously, we showed the goal with Rio, and you just look at his movement. Always knows where to be. That side of the game is perfect. But I just want to show you a few clips of his overall game. But what that's doing, if you look at Denmark's back 3 there, they've got an easy day. You need to stretch them. This is too easy. He needs to trust the players around him, Foden and Bellingham and Saka. Thoughts on this?
In all honesty, I think Harry Kane needs to do a lot better. I think his movement was minimal. He didn't look to go behind, and he doesn't often. But even when he comes short, he's just drifting short very kind of lethargically. He's plodding short, and that's not going to help. So when you're a striker, your 2 jobs are obviously score goals, which he's brilliant at. He has been all his career, and he's wonderful at that sort of thing. But I think he needs his manager to say, right, I need a little bit more from you, Harry. I would have expected that if I'd have had that kind of performance. Because as a striker, let me tell you, he's up against 3 at the back. So he has got to stretch that team. Even when he comes short, you've got to go that way first to keep them up there, and then you come short. So when you get the ball coming short, you don't have to go 20 yards to get it short, like he ambles in, and they just let him go, so you don't get it. So he's not creating the space for himself for a start, and vice versa. And he's never really been a player that spins that much behind, but it's the same thing. If someone's in midfield, and got the ball, and you want it behind, you go that way first, and then you go behind. And then you stretch the team. If you've got someone going behind, you can stretch the team, and that creates more space for the midfield players behind you. But in his defence, even when that happened on occasions, there wasn't enough of the midfield pushing up from behind. So it's a whole team thing. But he has to.
You know what he has? I totally agree. But there is no variation in the way he's playing. So to give the defender something to think about, if he's always coming short and just kind of being laboured in that respect, me as a defender, I'm not having any worries about him going that way. So I can just condense the pitch the whole time.
But isn't that what he's done the last 4 or 5 years? Yes. Then he just has runners.
I think the key is the runners.
Yeah. So we need runners around. I think he's doing what he's done and done very well.
Yeah. That's why you need Foden in the team.
Exactly. Nah, maybe or other runners, or Foden's going, or Jude is going behind, and he got 1 touch in the box. Of course, that's good. It's ended in the back of the net, but he didn't get enough service, maybe, or they maybe didn't put enough crosses in. I think that's another thing.
I think he gets frustrated, and I think sometimes when he does that, he ambles back, and he wants to play his part defensive in the team. But if you're playing fairly deep anyway, and your striker comes deep, as we saw on some of those clips that Micah showed, it exacerbates the issue. Because you're too far, then you've got no target to hit at all. But he's got to stay high under the way England are playing, and then it gives them a chance to get out and get people around him.
But he did come short once, and Saka stayed high, and he actually played Saka, and Saka was 1v1. He done it in the Euros final when we scored the goal with Luke Shaw. He comes deep, but if you have to have players that are high or running beyond, otherwise it becomes just clogged up in the middle areas.
We experienced this in the last Euros as well when we drew to Scotland. So it's just a time to stay calm, a time to reflect and try and improve for sure. But step by step, we'll get there.
You say no easy games, but are England making it a bit harder than it needs to be at the moment?
I think we're struggling, like I said, both with and without the ball. We'll have to go away and look at it back, but I think the pressure in both games just hasn't been quite right, and also with the ball, we haven't been good enough. That's the bottom line from top to bottom, from me all the way to Pix. Everyone's just dropping below their level a little bit in terms of retaining the ball, playing under pressure. I mean, it was tough out there with the heat, with the pitch. It wasn't easy, but look, we're calm. It wasn't our greatest game, but we got away with a draw, which is a good sign, and now we can hopefully build.
Is it on you or the manager that you are dropping deeper when you do score?
No, I think it's something that we've got to try and get better at. I don't think it's just when we score. I think we are starting games well, but then I just think in general maybe when the teams are dropping a few players deeper, we're not quite sure how to get the pressure on and who's the one supposed to be going. So in the second half, we tried to change it a little bit with me and Jude playing in front of their two midfielders and then trying to get up, but it was difficult. It was a difficult game. Credit to Denmark, they're a really good side. They obviously got to the semi-final in the last Euros, so they caused us some threats. But yeah, overall, you know, we've got to look back and see where we can improve.
Thanks, Harry.
Cheers, thank you.
Well, remarkably honest, and obviously asked whether it was a tactical thing. I mean, he pretty much said it
through an interview and just trying to back you off. That was really refreshing to see from Harry Kane as a captain, but it again concerns me that they're trying to get to grips with certain tactics and it's not coming out in the game.
We didn't know how to do it.
We didn't know how to do it.
Yeah.
I mean, that would be a worry for me, and I just think, please just get them out on a training ground again and start doing some repetition and some drills. But
they just need to work together as a unit, don't they?
And that was the difference between the two teams today.
Defence and attack. The gap's too big.
That's
the midfield,
that's basic,
you've got
Michael.
Trent Alexander-Arnold, who's a wonderful player, playing in midfield, finding it very difficult. And it's just like part of the team are doing one thing and part of the team are doing the other. They just need to work together as a collective.
As a manager, Thomas, what would you do now? If you were looking at that England team, what would you do in terms of trying to get them to be a team that plays as a unit?
Take them out for a beer.
That's not a bad idea, by the way. No, I think there's a couple of things that that in general they have done good over time. You know, he just said that it was the 12 games unbeaten in the group stages. Yeah. That's fantastic. Okay, so and in the last 3 tournaments we talked about, they've been growing into the tournament. Walker said they're calm. Kane saying they're calm. We know we need to progress, but they're also saying it was not their top moment. So there's no doubt there's things they were looking at. There's things Gareth will look at and see if they can maybe get a little bit higher, if that's what he wants.
Okay.
Because.
Well, I suspect it is because he put Watkins.
We was talking about, and this is what he can inject into this team. He can run in behind, times his run brilliantly, and then it's a good save, but a goalkeeper. But you mentioned as well, Gary, what can he do off the ball? Can he press? And that's exactly what he can do, which then gets the team higher up the pitch and just makes them a little bit more dynamic. Harry Kane's got a big role to play for England, but in terms of the way England want to play and they want to be aggressive, Watkins as well has a big role to
Harry now. Or not?
I said before,
can you get him to buy into it? If you push up from the back and give them that
you can.
support from behind.
I think he can. I think he can do the first press. 100%. The team's got to push really high. They do the first press together, like at Manchester City, different players, of course, but they win the ball within 2 or 3 seconds. As it is now, if England drop off, I don't think you can press like that.
I don't think it's down to just Harry Kane, though. This isn't just a Harry Kane problem. I think
it's not. That's
Harry
a tactical
Kane,
issue.
Yeah, Harry Kane can go. But my big issue today was that the midfielders didn't follow him behind. The only time they followed him behind, we nicked the ball and get a shot on the edge of their box. So the team as a unit have to press together. The problem is you looked at one team today, looked like they were a well-drilled outfit who knew all their roles, man for man. Where against an England team, who looked like they were looking on their shoulder for advice and guidance as when to go. That can't be the case at this level.
Denmark were a lesson, weren't they, in how to gauge when to press, when to sit, and the structure, the balance. They all seem to know their jobs, and they were compact. And that's really important in international football, any football.
Yeah, definitely. I think they played a good game overall, as you talked about, but defensively they knew when they wanted to press on a goal kick very, very high, who was jumping to press the keeper or the centre-back. They knew in that middle press, okay, can they still go again? And then the lower block, they were nice and compact. Plus, in the counter-press, they're very aggressive.
Yeah, very aggressive.
Very aggressive.
They might not have the talent of England, but they had the wherewithal and the cohesiveness, didn't they?
Yeah, no doubt about that. I also think sometimes you face a team or a coach where it's not working the same way.
And Thomas, what a goal.
Fantastic goal. Fantastic goal. I must say that it's a screamer anyway. And he's getting it here. Well connected with the ball.
Thomas,
fantastic finish.
How do you say screamer in Danish? Have you got a word?
No, I don't have. No.
Stumped him. You stumped him, Gary.
You stopped me. Yeah, but as we have said it, fantastic goal.
Scorcher? Got one for that?
No.
Thumper?
I need to make a comeback on that one.
You've been too long in England.
Yeah, exactly. So no.
Yeah.
Very good. Very good from
I thought
Morten.
Christian Eriksen was excellent.
Yeah.
Let's hear from him.
Well, Christian, well played out there, a point, but did you feel like you deserved a bit more tonight?
Yeah, I do think that we felt like if there was a team to win today, it was supposed to be us, but obviously we didn't get the win. But for us, it was a better game than the last one.
You talk about the last game. If you looked at England's last game, which I'm sure you did, was that the game plan and the way they approached the game that you expected tonight?
Yeah, no, I didn't. I don't think England surprised us in any way of how they wanted to play. Of course, we know they have exceptional players, but I think today we hurt them on the chances we had and the possibilities we had in the game. I just think we should have won instead of getting a draw.
Yeah, how much belief did you still have, despite going a goal behind from someone you know very well?
Yeah, no, he's always around in the box and he gets all the ugly goals as opponents, but he's there. And obviously, to come back was a perfect strike from Morten, and it kept us in the game and gave us afterwards a bit of belief. And yeah, I think it was just unfortunate we didn't take the belief to 2 more goals.
Yeah, did you expect once England scored? Did you know that they were going to drop deeper and give you opportunities?
No, I don't think they dropped deep. I think it was the game as before. I think even before the goal, it was very even. I think they lost a few times the ball in possession, and we tried to hurt them on the counter and in possession, and they did the same against us. So I think the game was even when they scored and we scored.
You mentioned ugly goals. That wasn't an ugly goal that your team scored.
No, that was a beautiful goal. I think Harry, of course, is always in the box, and I think Hjulmand had a lovely strike, and it was perfect timing.
And how are you feeling now about qualification?
No, we still have a game to go. We need a win against Serbia. There's nothing else for us. So yeah, it was a good game for us. It was good progress from the last game. But obviously we have to take the belief into next game, and we need 3 points.
Thank you.
Thank you. You're welcome.
Can I just ask you, Thomas, about Eriksen? Obviously,
of course you can.
Yeah, in the professional and so good within the game, still having an impact. How good is this player being?
I think it's been fantastic. I think I've been privileged to see it firsthand because he came back to play for Brentford. That was special. That was very special to see him as the first team session. He was actually terrible in that team session. Normally he has a top touch, but he was bouncing all over it. But then he just grew into it and come back to one of the top clubs in the world. Man United had a very good first season, I think, there. And now he got a little bit criticized of the Danish press because he hasn't played that much the last half season or the whole season, and the way he came into this tournament has been fantastic. I'm very pleased to see.
They were critical of him. The fact he's actually playing football in itself is remarkable.
It's crazy.
Yeah, exactly. But you know, it changed quick.
These pundits are awful. You know. we're
only some, not these here. Everyone else.
That's what we like to hear. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Jude Bellingham didn't have his best night. I think it's safe to say.
Reading the play. Rio knows him really well, has been texting him, and he's just so humble in the way he does everything. And in one of these clips, there's one where he gave it away, and you're sort of thinking, how can he react? There on the front foot, aggressive. Everything about his game was brilliant, and long may it continue, because we was talking about Harry Maguire before, a big miss, and I think this is what we was talking about.
No, this one.
There, he's just so strong and aggressive, and he's just had a brilliant tournament. It really has. And I think this is a mistake.
This was the one.
How do you recover?
Yeah.
How do you recover? Don't panic. Wait for the right timing.
Brilliant.
And what a wonderful
as a defender as well, Rio. I mean, you can appreciate that as a central defender.
Yeah, and I know exactly how hard it is to come into a team and to perform like that at this level. And it's I remember my first tournament, and you think to yourself how nervous you are, the anxiety that can build up. But he doesn't look like he's in the cage back where he's from.
Yeah. OK, let's hear from the England coach, Gareth Southgate.
Using the ball well enough, and we have to accept that if you do that, you're going to suffer at times as we have tonight. So we know there's another level that we've got to find.
In both games now, England have scored and then dropped deeper and not appeared to press as much. Is that what you're telling the team to do?
No. I think we've played teams that are quite fluid in back threes, and it's not easy to get pressure on them, but we've definitely got to do that better than we have done in these 2 matches. That's been part of the problem, but not keeping the ball has also been a big part of the problem.
Trent Alexander-Arnold started in midfield again, but he came off early in the second half. What does that tell us about how he's doing in that position in the middle?
Well, I wanted to get Connor on. We needed some energy. We needed to press better, and Connor obviously does that very well.
Do you feel like the positional change with Trent Alexander-Arnold is working?
Look, he's had some moments where he's delivered what we thought he would. We know it is an experiment, and we know that we don't have a natural replacement for a Calvin Phillips, but we're trying some different things, and at the moment we're not flowing as we'd like, that's for sure.
One touch in the opposition box for Harry Kane today. We saw him taken off, which isn't something we see often. Does it show that perhaps you're struggling to get this England attack to function as potentially they should, looking at the quality of player you've got?
Well, we needed energy. We've had 2 games in a short turnaround, and we needed fresh legs, we needed energy to press. And at that stage of the game, I think Harry's only had the 190 minutes in over a month, so that was the decision we took.
Given if you'd have won tonight, you would have qualified and been top already with a game to spare. How damaging is this, and how much work is there still to do if you are to win this?
No, of course, there's a huge amount of work. That's evident from the 2 performances that we've given, but we have to stay tight. We understand that people will be disappointed with the performances, and rightly so, and we've got to make them better.
Thanks, Gareth.
Yep, fair enough. He gets it. He didn't try and kid us in any way, shape or form.
No, again, you want an honest interview, and you give a good kind of insight into. We know it's like we've been there playing these. You don't go out there not to work hard and to get good results and to perform well. Sometimes as well, you have to give respect to your opponents. Denmark were a hard outfit to play against today. So I told you I'll give you credit.
I think we've been fairly respectful towards Denmark's performance.
They played very well. As I said before, they forced us to look at
We're thrilled for you.
Yeah,
I know. We're thrilled for you.
I think you've been in these positions before, Rio, where you've had great teams and not probably hit the levels that you should. What do they need to do now? What's going on in the changing room? How can you rectify this?
You have to have a meeting where you have to have some hard facts and good, solid, sometimes awkward and difficult conversations need to be had. Call each other out if need be. But also, I think, from listening to the interviews, I think tactically they need to really get around the table, out on the training pitch as well, and really dice that up and look at what's been going wrong. Because like I say, it's not down to one individual. We've talked about Harry Kane a lot today, but it's not just about him. I think the team have to work out when and which to press, the triggers for that, and then they'll have a chance.
Yeah, I can't all the English lineup, but the last 2, isn't that the first time those 11 played together with Trent in the middle, Jude, Foden? So there's something they tried to see if it's working, and I'm sure that Gareth, he will look at that now.
I think he'll change it. I think he'll shift Bellingham alongside Rice, and then Foden as possibly as a 10.
And then you need to look into it to see what works. What I like is that they're calm and they're not running away from it. So Kane, Gareth, they know Walker. They are calm. And they know they have done it before. I think 12 games unbeaten. I think it'll be better.
I think you deserved the last word, Thomas. Thank you for your company, Mike. Rio. Well, that's it. Just a reminder that England have qualified.